Tonight you may lock your door before you go to sleep. You do it to keep danger outside. In northern Ghana, families live beside an animal powerful enough to drag large prey beneath the water. But the real answer is far stranger. What if a dangerous animal were treated as kin? You find this story in Paga, a town in Ghana's Upper East region, close to the border with Burkina Faso. Two well-known water bodies, the Chief Crocodile Pond and the Zenga Crocodile Pond, support crocodiles within a dry savanna landscape where reliable water matters to animals and people. The reptiles are wild, yet local protection has allowed them to remain beside homes, farms, and footpaths. Why would a community defend an animal that most people would escape? You begin with identity. Many residents regard the crocodiles as totems, living symbols tied to ancestry, unity, and protection. A crocodile is not treated as an ordinary source of meat. Killing one, eating one, or keeping its body parts violates a powerful local taboo. In that moral system, harming a crocodile can feel like harming a person. Can a belief become stronger than offense? You hear the reason in Paga's oral history. One version tells of an early settler named Nave who faced deadly danger and received help from a crocodile. Other tellings describe a hunter escaping a lion after promising that his descendants would never eat crocodile flesh. These accounts are traditions, not events that modern research can verify, but their social effect is real. A promise made in the past still shapes conduct in the present. The crocodiles gained protection long before conservation became a professional field. What survives when a community turns memory into a rule? In 2008, Shadrach Arheen examined the Paga tradition in a study of Ghanaian cultural practices and wildlife protection. He argued that the spiritual bond had protected the crocodiles without depending entirely on formal legislation. The rule works because it reaches daily choices. A hunter does not merely fear punishment from an official. The hunter risks violating ancestry, community, and personal identity at once. Which force changes behavior more deeply, a distant law or a promise carried through generations? Raphael Ane Atanga looked more closely at Paga in a 2019 study based on interviews with local tourism stakeholders. His research recorded the belief that the crocodiles represent both ancestral souls and the souls of living residents. It also found practical management around that belief. Chiefs, elders, and guides help control activity near the ponds, while guides call crocodiles from the water, explain the tradition, and manage visitor feeding. Sacred meaning becomes daily work, but does protection remain sacred when tourists arrive with cameras? Tourism creates a complicated answer. Visitors pay guides, buy chickens for feeding, and support small businesses. That income gives the living crocodiles economic value and helps finance pond maintenance and community activity. Yet feeding and close contact do not make a crocodile domesticated or harmless. Guides follow familiar routines, but no routine removes the danger from a powerful wild predator. Is coexistence the same as control? You can see why this refuge matters when you look beyond Paga. In 2009, crocodile specialists Matthew Shirley, William Oduro, and Hilaire Yankoyo-Kore Bebro reported surveys from 67 sites across Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. They found crocodiles absent from nearly one-third of surveyed locations, while local informants said the animals had been more common 10 to 20 years earlier. Habitat encroachment and accidental capture in fishing equipment emerged as major threats. Against that regional decline, Paga reveals what local restraint can preserve. What happens when a feared species receives protection instead of persecution? Nang Biug Duty and his research team tested Paga's pond water in a study published in 2023. They found elevated levels of enteric bacteria along with physical water measurements that exceeded the standards used in their assessment. Sacred status had discouraged deliberate harm to crocodiles, but it had not stopped pollution and pressure around the pond. The researchers recommended better sanitation, regular water testing, and protection for vegetation around the catchment. Can a tradition protect an animal if its habitat becomes unhealthy? Still, reverence cannot refill a pond. In 2024, Lydia Koyiga reported that local managers associated hotter, shallower water with crocodiles leaving their habitat and sometimes dying. By March 2026, Zenga residents were calling for urgent desilting and protection as the pond dried and encroachment increased. A local leader reported more than 200 crocodiles there, but earlier research found weak record-keeping, so that number remains an estimate rather than a verified census. What good is a sacred promise if the water disappears? You now reach the counterintuitive truth. Paga does not show that belief should replace conservation science. It shows that science works inside a human world of values, duties, and stories. A protected area can exist on paper, but lasting protection also needs personal responsibility. What might modern conservation learn from a village that sees an animal's survival as part of its own future? So tonight, when you lock your door against danger, remember Paga, where protection began by refusing to turn a feared animal into an enemy.